Remember, I've told you before, ladies and gentlemen, that whether I cannot prove whether or not any of our astronauts ever went to the moon, I can prove beyond any shadow of any doubt that the photographs and videotapes and the video coverage of the so-called Apollo landings on the moon are all fake. All of them, every single one of them. There's not one real photograph among the bunch that was ever taken on the moon. I can prove that beyond any shadow of a doubt, no problem. I have a degree in photography. It's easy. These people think we're so stupid they didn't even do it right. And back when they did it, they didn't have the special effects technology and the computer capability that they have now. I mean, if they tried this now, they could have really fooled us. But they couldn't wait. See, they had to do it because they want world government by the millennium, by the year 2000 or shortly thereafter. And the only way that they could genuinely get people to buy the premise that extraterrestrials are visiting this Earth is to make people believe that we actually went to the moon. Now, like I said, I know there's a secret space program with a secret technology, and I believe we've been out there all over the place, to tell you the truth. I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know exactly how, but I believe that we have. But I know and can prove that all of the photographs taken of the Apollo space program, the moon landings that were supposedly taken on the moon, and the videotape that was supposedly shot on the moon, and the film that was supposedly shot on the moon was not shot on the moon. And I've told you that many, many times. I have quoted to you from a book called Moongate. I've quoted to you from a book entitled We Never Went to the Moon. I have quoted to you my own findings of my own research and the research of others. And tonight I'm going to begin a narration from NASA Mooned America by Renee. Now, you can purchase this book from us, ladies and gentlemen. It has the photographs in it that tell the tale, that prove it beyond any shadow of a doubt, both black and white and brilliant, beautiful color photographs that are official NASA photographs that you can order yourself, unless they figure out that I'm doing this and then pull those photos and don't let you have them anymore, which they've done in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, virtually every event and movement was governed by the flight plan, a script as large as a telephone book. Now, it seems to me that even the dialogue was carefully controlled, especially when the astronauts knew they were being filmed or recorded for television, and this proves out to be a fact. And it can be demonstrated when references to a hot mic are made by one of the astronauts. And you can also find that on the tapes. Apollo 12 was a more extensive mission than the first moon landing, whereas Armstrong and Aldrin spent only 2.5 hours on the moon. Conrad and Bean would spend a total of more than 7 hours, venturing a half mile from the spacecraft, or so they said. When you examine the photographs, the horizon in every single picture is always exactly 100 meters from the camera. Now, I have a degree in photography, folks, and I can tell you that that's absolutely true. 100 meters. Didn't matter if they were in hilly terrain, flat terrain, bumpy terrain, no terrain. The horizon was always 100 meters from the camera, wherever the camera was. The shadows of the two rocks in the right side foreground are all parallel, which is as it should be. The shadows from Duke and the rover are also parallel. However, ladies and gentlemen, both sets of shadows diverge from each other, which is impossible if the sun is the source of light. Only huge, power-hungry arc spotlights could cause these shadows to act this way. Has anyone ever seen a trackless vehicle leave abrupt right-angle tracks before? NASA claims they had four-wheel steering, which would have resulted in 4 separate sets of tire tracks. It looks like a stage crew dragged the rover around to the left just before this picture was taken. There are only 2 tire tracks, and they make perfect right-angle turns. Notice how crystal clear, and I'm noticing it, you can't, but I'm going to tell you, how crystal clear both the footprints and the tire tracks are. A man who lives and has tracked various animals in the Australian desert pointed out that clear tracks in deep dust require moisture or gases, otherwise they are no more than indistinct depressions. I've done some tracking of my own, and I instantly knew he was right. The only clear tracks we can leave on a sand beach, no matter if the sand is fine or coarse, is near the water. There are some ultra-fine man-made materials that will take a track when at normal temperatures, but no natural soil here on Earth has that property. There can be no moisture on the moon, especially during the daytime when surface temperatures are about 250 degrees. Couple this with the vacuum of space, which drastically lowers the boiling point, and any moisture would boil away in seconds. And yet every picture that was taken shows clear footprints. Now, folks, if you can get yourselves a bell jar and a vacuum pump and put dust in the bell jar, you can check this out yourself. With dry dust, with no air between the particles, produced by putting the dust inside a bell jar and pumping out the air with a vacuum pump, you can make no footprints, no impressions whatsoever, because the dust is brought together in the vacuum. The only way you can make prints is if the dust is in an atmosphere and there is gas or moisture between the particles of the dust. These are all things that you can do yourself. Bell jar doesn't cost much. You can probably find a vacuum pump at your local science class at the local high school. Lights. But what really takes the booby prize, ladies and gentlemen, is that John Young, in this photograph, has leaped about 18 inches into the air and has outjumped his own shadow. The astronaut, ladies and gentlemen, has no shadow whatsoever. Which means that it is a composite photograph made of two different photographs. A cutout negative of the astronaut combined with a mask and the background of the lunar lander and the flag. He's outjumped his own shadow. We all know, folks, that white men can't jump. But wouldn't you think that if you weighed only 65 pounds on the moon's 1/6 gravity, that guys with the right stuff could jump higher than this? And then, where is the shadow? Or were two or more equal sources of light focused on him at the same time? No, it's a composite photograph, ladies and gentlemen. Or will a NASA apologist claim that light moves slow enough on the moon to allow a man with the right stuff to jump right out of his shadow?